Animal Crossing, what a good idea that you came up with yourself. Really nice and cool. I'm so normal about this.
Thank you. W. One Mario 64 Iceberg. Okay. One mustn't look at the abyss because there's at the bottom an inexpressible charm which attracts us. I'm excited. Let me tell you, I've never been more excited to watch a video.
Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna waste your time with a stupidly long intro. You can probably understand how these iceberg images work, and you definitely know what Mario 64 is. The only thing I want to explain before we get into it is in the bottom left I'm gonna have a little health meter corresponding to how confident I am in my explanation of whatever thing I'm talking about. Full health is I 100% know exactly what I'm talking about and I'm fully confident that it's accurate, and zero health
This is awesome.
It's just a shot in the dark.
Right.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So let's just jump right into it. L is real 2401.
I know this one. I know this one.
This is a classic, famous rumor relating to the plaque in the castle courtyard that has the star above it. Some people think that this plaque says L is real 2401.
And those people are fucking stupid. How does this say L is real? I've never understood that. Like, look at this. How does it say L is real? How do you see it? L... Doobadoo. Real. Like, I don't see is. I literally don't see
Did you
it.
see the guy beating all 7
Hinting at
from soft
maybe
games
Luigi
back
being
to
in the
back
game.
without getting hit all level 1?
No way. That's gonna be crazy when I beat him for Speedrunner of the Year.
Or the release date of Paper Mario.
Oh, that's cool
in
though.
North America.
That sounds awesome.
In
I'll
reality,
watch
this
that.
plaque doesn't really say anything. The texture is only 32 by 32 pixels, so even extracting it from the game, you can't really make out what it says. If I had to guess, I would say it says Eternal Star, but again, it probably just says nothing. The Space World 95 beta.
What
Space
the
World
fuck
was
is
sort
this?
of a public exhibition sort of thing where Nintendo would show off upcoming video games, and of course, Mario 64
Wait,
was
this is
shown at
Mario
Space World
beta?
1995, 1 year before it was eventually released. This is one of the most famous video game betas out there, with tons of footage of it existing around the internet, and that's probably why it's on the top level of this iceberg.
Oh, I didn't know
Fortress
that.
Tower 1-up. In Whomp's Fortress, if
Mario
you punch the back
beta.
of the tower that appears after you've defeated King Whomp,
Yeah, I know
there
that.
will be a 1-up. Most players wouldn't probably think to punch it on their first playthrough, but in terms of obscure secrets, it's
This is how I'd impress chicks.
paradoxically pretty well known. Bob-omb Battlefield Bridge hanging. On the underside of this
Yeah, I
bridge,
know this one too.
in Bob-omb Battlefield, you can hang to it like any of the other climbable ceilings in this game. There's
Duh,
pretty much
yawn.
no reason to actually do this, which is why it's kind of obscure. Half A presses and parallel universes.
Oh, this is
Now,
crazy.
I could make a stupid, tired joke at the expense of Pan and Koek or TJ Henry Yoshi, but God knows both of them are sick of this by now. So I'm just gonna basically summarize some of the stuff that's in the video, but honestly, Panen does such a better job at explaining it than I ever could. Basically, a parallel universe is a copy of the geometry of any Super Mario 64 level that exists way out in the distance relative to the regular level. Normally, in a casual playthrough, you would never ever be able to access these, and these are only useful in terms of things like the 0 A presses runs. Half A presses are basically just a notation used in isolation. So
Thank you,
what
world.
Panen describes in his video is that in Watch for Rolling Rocks, he does the entirety of that star with the A button held down. So he notes it as 0.5 A presses.
Wait, just think about that for a second. Casual players. A is the jump button in Mario. Can you imagine doing a whole Mario playthrough without hitting A? Like, isn't that crazy? Like, just think about that. Just even collecting 1 star. It's a crazy thing. Like, this guy's going really fast. And so a half A press is you go into the level with A button pressed down.
He says in a
It's an
full
amazing thing.
game run that it would just be counted as one 8 press. People in the comments section seem to not understand this to this day, saying that no, you can't.
Look at all these dumb fucking people.
You can't have.
Oh, I
passive 8
hate
press.
opinions.
Whereas he specifically says it only exists in isolation of that specific star and tool.
It's so
run.
annoying.
Impossible coin / Goomba. This is another pen and coic topic. Super Mario 64 has a few coins that are not collectible. One of them exists in Tiny Huge Island because
Mistaken
one of the
game.
coins spawns underneath part of the level, and in the final Bowser level, there is a triad of Goombas, and one of them spawns where there is no ground, so he appears at the death barrier, and his coin cannot be collected. Again, just watch the video Pen and Coic put out on this that he did a couple years ago. Big Boo unused text. There's a piece of text within the game that goes unused that says,
Hee hee hee, you're mine now, hee hee. I'll pass right through this wall. Can you do that? Heh heh heh.
You can make NPCs say this extremely easily, but it's unknown as to why it went unused. Maybe the Boo in the castle would have said this. When it comes to things like this, there's not much we can do but speculate. Don't become his lunch. In Hazy Maze Cave, there's a sign that says, a gentle sea dragon lives here. Pound on his back to make him lower his head. Don't become his lunch. The first 2 sentences make sense, but the last sentence seems to contradict the first one.
What?
Can't even harm you in this
It's just a
game.
bad translation.
Honestly, it was probably just the translators having some fun, since
Yeah.
Dory might look a bit scary to a small child playing this game.
What do you mean a small child playing this game? This game is made for 30-plus-year-olds who are speedrunning. No small child plays Mario 64. I find that deeply offensive.
Mirror Room. The mirror room in the upstairs floor of the castle is where Snowman's Land is accessed, but many players naturally wanted to go through or behind the mirror. There actually is collision back there, but no way to access it other than maybe backwards long jumping. In the DS remake, you actually have to enter the mirror to find Wario as well as the secret star. Dancing Flowers. Mario 64 has a few weather effects.
I never
such
got
as
that
snow,
star.
as well as lava bubbles in Lethal Lava Land and Bowser in the Fire Sea. The lava bubbles basically stick to the floor, or in this case the lava, and play their bubbling animation. There exists a similar effect in which flowers will stick to the floor and play a dancing animation.
Aww.
Volcano blocks. A bunch of
Cute.
cubes are just thrown about near the star platform inside the Lethal Lava Land volcano. They're probably just there for decoration, but, you know, they're on this image anyway, might as well explain them. Secret Aquarium. I don't know why this one is on here. You literally need to go there to get all 120 stars. You can backwards long jump into—
Wait. Is this not his iceberg? Is he reading someone else's iceberg and explaining it? I see, okay.
these fish tanks, but there isn't anything there. Ghoul Metal. In Big Boo's Haunt, there's a signpost that says, "You don't stand a ghost of a chance in this house. If you walk out of here, you deserve a ghoul medal." This is literally just a pun on the word gold medal. Yellow cap switch. The 3 cap switches in the game, the red, the green, and the blue one, are all actually the same object, but each color switch just has a different parameter set. There does exist a 4th yellow switch in the game, much like the ones from Super Mario World, and would have unlocked Koopa shells. Broken paintings. There are several paintings in the upper floor of the castle that don't act as level warps, some of which are direct copies of existing paintings on other floors. If you ask me though, it's just Nintendo being resourceful with their textures, and chose to give the upstairs walls some more flair.
Lazy
HMC
company, huh?
alcove. There are a few little ledges in the toxic—
But in the most recent games, they would replace these paintings and it would cost $90.
floors.
But it's worth it. Don't you want these fresh paintings? Like they're gonna have like some Picasso, they're gonna have some really beautiful
If you
stuff.
ask me though, HMC alcove. There are a few little ledges in the toxic maze that don't lead out of the maze. Presumably they exist as a means of letting players breathe through
Mistake.
it, and without their health draining as they navigate the maze. E.T. in the pyramid. The hieroglyphs in the shifting sandland pyramid have the letters E.T. on the right side.
But like, this has gotta be just like some fucking random texture, right? Like Nintendo has gotta go through some like free texture pack There's no way this is like on purpose. But like, if this was in real life, I feel like Joe Rogan and his like comedian buddies would make a whole podcast about this. No, that's crazy.
Ignoring the conspiracy of aliens built the pyramids, this was either just a random bit of humor snuck in,
Okay, Cloud,
or the
thank you
letters
for
were
the
placed
prime.
there at random by the Japanese texture artists without any thought of their significance.
That's what I'm saying.
Jolly Roger Bay Vanishing Fog. This
I
one is
love this song. Thank you,
When you
Om.
first enter Jolly Roger Bay, there's a subtle fog that rests above the water, and the skybox has a sort of yellow-green hue to it.
Oh yeah.
After collecting the first star, it goes away forever and doesn't
Thank you,
come back
mouthful
even
of
if you select
milk.
star 1 again.
Hope
You
you
have
had a
to
good
start a new
stream.
file just to see it again. It's honestly
We're watching the Mario 64 Iceberg Explained.
very overlooked
Worm-esque,
and
thank
not
you.
as pronounced as the other details in levels, such as the Whomp Fortress pyramid
Thank you, Carson.
appearing, or the Big Dud. After defeating King
The
Babam,
Big Dud.
one of the pink Bob-ombs will say, "Thank you, Mario. The Big Bob-omb is nothing but a big dud now." Additionally, the pit that previously only had 2 steel
He's a
balls
dud.
rolling around it has 3 in it, and it'll only go back down to having 2 if you select the first star and fight King Bob-omb again.
What? I didn't know that. Wait, whoa. So if you go in the first star, there's only 2 balls?
Additionally, the pit that previously only had 2 steel balls rolling around it has 3 in it, and it'll only go back down to having 2 if you select the first star and fight King Bob-omb again.
I didn't know that.
Yoshi Saddle. In every official picture of Yoshi, the saddle or shell on his back has a white outline. In Super Mario 64, it is entirely red. Even stranger is that the rim of the saddle is actually modeled, but colored red instead of white. Yoshi's polygons are colored by the game itself, and the only textures he uses are for his eyes. Bugged fire texture.
I'm sorry to cause drama. In this
Colored by the
game,
game itself, and the only
Yoshi is
textures he uses
so ugly. Like, I remember even thinking when I was a kid, he is such an ugly looking creature. Says you? Like, look at him. Look how disturbing he looks.
are for his eyes. Bugged fire texture.
Thank you, Microbangs.
When Mario is burned, the smoke textures that spawn behind him are meant to look different than the ones shown in game. It's extremely subtle, and unless it's been pointed out to you, you'd assume that's how it was intended to look. Unagi's tunnel. In Jolly Roger Bay, Unagi the eel has a small hole that he emerges from. There's actually a tunnel behind it that is fully modeled, but Mario has no way of accessing it, and it's unlikely that a normal player would even see it. Blargg. Blargs are enemies that appeared in Super Mario World, and a couple other Mario games before Super Mario 64 would be released. An untextured model of a Blargg exists in Super
No
Mario
freaking
64,
way.
along with a few animations.
What?
It can be reinserted into Lethal Lava Land with a simple code. Shh, please walk quietly in the hallway.
Whoa. So, like, did they find this code in the game? How did they find that? Like, where did they find this? Like, did they find additional code and they had to reinsert it in the game? During the leak? Oh! That's so sick.
Into Lethal Lava Land with a simple code. Shh, please walk quietly in the hallway is a rather obscure sign that exists on the upper floor of the castle. No idea what this one means. Mips.
What? Alright.
Rowing. The rabbit that appears in the castle can't be thrown normally, but he can be thrown underwater.
Drown
This is only
him.
possible if you clip through a door and bring Mips into the room with the 2 pillars. A 1996 developer interview also showed that Mario was able to throw Mips by the ears earlier on in development. JRB box. This box on the Jolly Roger Bay ship has some weird
Fuck this
collision on
box.
it, and it can do weird amounts of damage to you.
Fuck this
if
ship.
You just kind of
It's so
look at it
broken.
wrong. It's really just such a strange object because most players would just walk right past it without even thinking. And it doesn't really pose much of a challenge even for new players.
Yeah.
Whomp King turns into the castle. King Whomp complains that whomps are used to build things, and after he dies, a castle is built where he
Oh
once
my
was.
god.
If you want
I never put that
To be
together.
more morbid, maybe they used his body to lay the foundational brickwork.
Jesus. Thank you, Schneef.
Wet Dryworld Skybox. Wet Dryworld is a unique level in a couple of ways.
Oh, I know
and
this.
it's
This
one of
is
the
crazy. This is a good one. Pay
view where
attention.
the skybox is not shared with any other level in the game. According to a tweet from Super Mario Broth, it's an edited photo of Casares in Spain. This also relates to the skyboxes are photographs point on the iceberg. Debug menu names. By inputting a specific cheat code, you can access a hidden level select in Mario 64. This level select contains a beta version of the title screen, as well as a bunch of different names for all of the levels in the game. Mainly these are just shortened versions and or different names of all the existing levels. Anyone who's coded anything will tell you that using shorthands for names of things is extremely common.
Duh.
True locations...
Wait, Kai World? Yeah, I saw that too. Kai's World. God, that's my freaking W. True locations of painting worlds.
Like with most video games, we rarely stop to think such benign questions as, I wonder where this specific level is in the Mario universe. However, Whomp's Fortress returning in Mario Galaxy 2 implies
Oh, I gotta play this game! It returns in Galaxy 2? A recreation of Whomps?
Sending Mario to real locations instead of him just literally entering a world that only exists within that painting. For example, if the painting in Whomp's Fortress was destroyed, Whomp's Fortress would still exist.
Thank you, Cloud, for the 5.
And the same could be said for any of the other painting worlds. Tiny Huge Island also seems to be similar to the Giant Land from Super Mario Bros. 3, specifically the one level where you can change between the big and the small.
Oh yeah, it is the
Tall
same.
Mountain may harken back to the athletic levels from the first Super Mario.
Oh my god,
levels.
true.
I guess I should also just go over Tower of the Wingcap true location here as well.
Wait, I never put that together. Am I stupid? That they're like exactly the same. For some reason, the 2D and 3D Mario, I never put that together. Like the big and small TTM. I never put. I swear to God.
Iceberg. Tower of the Wingcap has buildings nearby, which implies that they are connected to a piece of land far below. But of course, we don't know anything about the land down there. Haunted dirt texture. Some people claim to see a face in this dirt texture in Bob-omb Battlefield, but I...
This is like when like a middle-aged mom orders a pizza and sees Jesus Christ on it or something. And she's like, this is a sign. This is a sign. It's the same thing. Like, you look long enough and you see patterns.
Don't see anything.
I fucking do. This is one eye, this is one eye, and this is the mouth.
Maybe the iceberg image is referring to a completely different dirt texture, but honestly, if you guys see anything, please let me know, because I straight up don't notice anything in this. Lethal Lava Land painting fireball. While there's no shortage of fire in Lethal Lava Land, none of the fireballs in the game have faces. It does closely resemble the fireballs that rain down on Mario in the final battle in Super Mario World.
No faces.
Island in the distance.
What? What is that fact?
Skybox, there are a few islands way out there, obviously inaccessible since they're just part of the sky texture. Mario enters Wet Dry World early in the Got Milk commercial. I don't think that this is true, because in the Got Milk commercial, Mario has 37 stars, and while Wet Dry World is in the upper floor of the castle, getting to the second Bowser level only requires 30 stars to open the door.
I'm sorry, what is
as well
this
as
commercial?
the 1 star that's required you collect in Dire Dire Docks. So it's entirely possible that you can get upstairs with only 31 stars, let alone 37. Zelda 64 beta assets in Wet Dry World. Ocarina of Time, known as Zelda 64 earlier on, was in development around the same time as Super Mario 64. And the two series just generally have a lot of shared history, as being two of Nintendo's biggest.
Where?
A few screenshots of the Zelda 64 beta kind of resemble Mario 64.
Kind of.
Wet Dry World, and these doors are almost the exact same.
Oh my god, wait, the doors are the fucking same. Wait, they actually are, I see it. The doors are weirdly similar.
There's also the famous Space World 95 video
Zelda is in Mario?
of Zelda 64, where a very different looking Link is fighting a copy of himself with none other than Metal Mario's texture.
Whoa.
Bob-omb Village. I think the iceberg image is referring to this image, which depicts a bunch of bob-ombs in an empty field next to
Sorry? I'm sorry, some kid made this in computer lab, I'm pretty sure.
some unknown figure. In the Nintendo 64 development kit, there apparently existed a man with a sombrero, so this could just be him. Come to think of it, it is kind of weird how Mario is the only human to set foot in any of the levels. Secret Slide Dimensional Rift. I
Wait, isn't that not true?
guess this might be referring to the fact that the slide in the castle is way too big to actually fit in.
Didn't Bowser hide the power stars? But I guess Bowser is not a human being.
Side of the castle. I don't know, it's a video game, it doesn't have to really
Bowser sold
make
me
that much
fentanyl.
sense. Like Mario goes into paintings and stuff and no one questions it.
That's like the answer to all of these things.
Fortress interior. Fortresses are usually built in order to protect things, but you can't go
Yes.
inside of Whomp's fortress. The Japanese name is essentially the same, but it could be read as Whomp King's fortress or castle. But like, they probably just named it that after they built the level. In Galaxy 2, you actually can enter the center in order to fight King Whomp. Side note, but if you want a ROM hack that lets you play a reimagined version of Whomp's Fortress, and that lets you go inside of the fortress, play Whomp's Castle by Blargg.
I don't want
The
to.
end screen. I've heard a few people say that the perspective on the end cake screen looks kind of weird.
This cake looks fucking amazing, doesn't it? If these are like strawberries and cherries, like this looks so fucking good.
And I can't deny that in the background, if you look closely, there's some weird thing that kind of looks like a weird Yoshi. Rainbow Ride.
Wait, whoa. What is that face? What the fuck is that? I've never in my life seen this. Is this edited? That's Yoshi? No, it's not. What is that?
See, there's some weird thing that kind of looks like a weird Yoshi.
Ew.
Rainbow Rides Village. Super Smash
Thank you,
Bros.
Huncho
Melee has
Bussin'.
a recreation of Rainbow Ride from Mario 64, and in the background, there's a tiny little town on a mountainside, which is not present in Mario 64. Yoshi commits suicide. After collecting
What? This one's sad. The text is red.
120 stars and getting up on top of the castle, you can talk to Yoshi. He will give you 99 lives and jump into the horizon.
Nah, he didn't kill himself. No one kills themselves by walking like this. Like, no, come on. He's not gonna walk to the ledge like this, alright? There's just no fucking way. Alright? Come on, get real.
Yoshi commits suicide. After collecting 120 stars and getting up on top of the castle, you can talk to Yoshi. He will give you 99 lives and jump into the horizon, which some people interpreted as him committing suicide. Removed courses. A total of 32 levels were planned for the game.
Oh, I know this
15
one.
15 main courses, as well as 8 other levels.
This is why Nintendo is like the best game company ever. Like they're, like all of the games they showed on the Switch 2 are already done, and they're just strategically releasing them. Whereas like a lot of AAA games, I feel like the games are released when they're not fucking complete. Like Nintendo will never have you waiting like Silk Song.
Levels in total. Big Boo's Secret Laugh. In Big Boo's haunt, you can sometimes hear a lower-pitched version of the boo laugh used in the game.
That's why it's $90. Oh, and except Metroid Prime. Yeah, okay, except Metroid Prime 4. Alright, that's the one exception. Oh, I know this one too! Isn't that scary? Wait, let's listen to that one again. There's like an ultra rare, like, CS knife drop chance that you get this evil slow-mo boo laugh and no one knows why. Like this one. Isn't that creepy? It's like a lady's spirit is trapped in the game cartridge and it's her plea for help. That's the story I tell myself.
120 has spiritual significance. Apparently, the number 120 is something called an angel number, and whenever it shows up in your life, it serves as a message from angels that it's time to take initiative in a creative undertaking or something. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no fucking idea what this means. You can assign meaning to any numbers that you want. 120 is not unique in this regard. So, I mean, sure, I guess 120 has spiritual significance, but
yes.
Spoiler alert, I don't really believe in this.
Ooh, tell him.
Crevice. There's a sign in Cool Mountain that refers to a place called Cold Crevice down below.
Ew.
This doesn't really mean anything, and it's just a nice little bit of alliteration. Moving on.
What? I don't even know what any of these signs are, but I like that he included it.
Mario 64 is Freemason Initiation. The game begins in a Masonic hall, where there is a checkerboard floor, symbolic of the world of polarized opposites, the physical world on which the ritual is based. There's also a solar disc, red carpet, and the hall is 3 layers.
Wait, stop. This video might be one of the best videos I've ever seen. It's like, did you know Mario? This is footage of Mario in beta. Mario is the devil! The pentagram!
The coins in the game are actually pentacles, and they are the coins from tarot and occult symbolism. In this game, you play the role of a Mercury-type character traveling to the Earth in between the realms.
I love this one.
The thread goes on to basically describe a bunch of shit that is, you can kind of link it to Freemasonry, but I mean, it's like, come on, come on, dude. How Bowser got into the castle with his sub.
Wait, Drew, how did he sneak a submarine in here? There's no entryway.
In Dire Docks, there's this hole that leads to the outside of the castle, which some people have theorized is how Bowser got his submarine in there. Big Boo's haunt.
Oh.
When Mario enters Big Boo's haunt,
yeah, but where does it go in from the outside?
Entering into that little cage that comes out of the Big Boo in the courtyard. So why does it change from a regular sunny day to a nighttime forest? Well, my theory for this is that since he's shrunk down to the size of the cage, the blades of grass around him and sticks and stuff look like a forest to him. That doesn't really explain why it's suddenly nighttime, but hey, no theory's perfect.
Dude, I love this video.
Mario 64 textures are, at their biggest, only 32 by 64 pixels wide, which is tiny in comparison to the textures that are used in video games and stuff today. Now, it is entirely possible that Nintendo may have created their own textures from scratch, but they could have also used textures that used to be much higher resolution before crunching them down to fit on the N64 cartridge.
Like zoom the fuck in?
It seems that we might never actually know what these original textures looked like.
Whoa. Uh-oh, wait, why is this getting evil?
Ally with info. A toad on the upper floor of the castle says, "Here, let me tell you a little something about the castle. In the room with the mirrors, look carefully for anything that's not reflected in the mirror." But in the DS version, they changed the end of that line to say, "Look carefully for anything that's not reflected in the mirror," and an ally with info. I think this is a vague hint that you need to use the power flower in order to pass through the mirror. And I guess in the Mario universe, it wouldn't be too unreasonable that a toad would consider a flower to be an ally of his. I would have said that the toad is referring to Wario, since you need to enter the mirror to access the level where he's imprisoned, but the toad will still repeat the ally with info line if you're playing as Wario. The toads have unique dialogue that depends on which character you're using, so it's not like they just copied over the dialogue they used for Mario. It was an intentional thing that they left in. Metal Mario.
Whoa.
Initially, I wasn't sure what the Metal Mario texture could be, but eCumber on Twitter made an amazing discovery about the origin of this texture. So please give them a follow, because this part of the video wouldn't exist without them.
eCumber.
Basically, eCumber was looking through a dump from a Silicon Graphics Indie, which was a workstation that was used at the time, and they found this image. If you flip the image upside down and squish it down to 64 by 32 pixels, it's almost an exact match for the Metal Mario texture used.
That's crazy! Holy shit! It's flowers!
In game. Wet dry.
Wait, that's crazy!
Dryworld negative emotional aura. Okay.
It's a backwards flower. I didn't know that.
Is one that I feel very strongly about.
Okay.
Because for some reason, whenever I play Mario 64, I just kind of want to stop when I hit Wet Dry World. You know, it's
I want to stop when I boot it up. As soon as I hit the fucking N64 button, I want to stop. So I completely understand.
It's such a weird feeling level. It feels almost claustrophobic, I guess.
Yeah, it's
so,
bad.
Wet Dryworld is composed of 2 different parts. The main part where you are raising and lowering the water level, and there's like secrets and stuff, and there are all these little enemies running around that like flip you around and stuff. And there's the little town part. Now, as a kid, I don't think I ever actually got to access the town without like looking it up. And even today, it's like kind of weird and cumbersome to get to because you have to raise the
It has
water
no
level, lower
theme.
the water level, blah blah blah.
Ugly
And
fucking level.
Once you're in that town, you can't really get out, and it's all like boxed in. So the level feels, again, claustrophobic.
Ugly.
And there's just, I don't know, it just feels, again, it feels like there's a negative emotional aura there that I can't really explain. I guess maybe the music, combined with the very dull visuals, combined with the weird skybox, and the feeling of being boxed in, it just feels so
I completely understand.
weird. And it, like, I'm very glad that
Yes.
at least one other person
Speak
in the world
it.
feels this way about Wet Dryworld, because it's
It's
a weird
horrible.
level.
It's the devil's
Peach
level.
is behind the stained glass window. The stained glass painting at the front of the castle is certainly iconic. But
Oh, and
once
she
you
comes
go
out of
inside,
it.
You'll notice that the texture that they use for the interior version is actually slightly different. So there's the belief that this isn't actually a window with just 2 sides. There is a little tiny area inside there. And at the very end of the game, when Peach finally spawns in front of the castle, there's the belief that she was actually behind the stained glass the whole time. It makes sense in the context of Mario 64. The whole game,
She's
you're entering
trapped.
paintings, and stained glass is, well, it's not a painting, it's a piece of art. So Peach being trapped inside there thematically would make sense.
Wait, true.
Toad's literally trapped inside the walls. A few Toads in the game verbatim say the lines, "We're trapped inside the castle walls," or "The princess is trapped somewhere in the walls." And even Bowser in the final fight says that your friends are trapped in the walls. Again,
Mario's
this might
scary.
just be a figurative thing, but what's more
I'm getting creeped out by this
interesting
game.
to me is, I'm sure most of you know this, that the first Super Mario Bros. Game, Bowser turns Toads into bricks, and when Mario smashes the bricks, people think that, oh, he's murdering them, but no, he's just freeing them from the bricks or something. The point is, I would like to believe that if you were to take this line literally, Bowser has again turned the Toads into bricks, and
Thank
they
you,
are
Dalbo.
literally part of the walls now.
Wait. So there's Toads that aren't part of the wall, and all of the bricks in Mario are Toads, and they're stuck in the wall. So every time Mario breaks a brick, he's murdering, and Mario knows that, but he's murdering for coins. So he's a hitman. He's murdering innocent people. That's so sad.
Hazy Maze Cave is the castle's septic system.
Okay. All right. Let's keep going.
This is kind of just a meme. The Hazy Maze Cave room, you could interpret it as a fucking
Okay.
toilet because the walls have like pipes there. It's kind
Holy
of gross,
shit.
I guess.
Wait, I agree with this
There's
one.
this
The
image
goo.
which I hate looking at it.
The yellow gas is Peach's farts. These are balls of poop. Peach and Bowser's poop mixed. There are pipes along the walls that lead to toilets.
But I'm gonna make you look at it too. So there you go.
go.
Bowser broke the door. The door that leads out of the castle
Fuck
courtyard has a
you.
layer of bricks around it, which could imply that they had to be placed there after the door had been broken through, as
Holy
they
shit.
mismatch the colors of the rest of the wall. The
Surely.
possible hole that these bricks are filling is suspiciously Bowser-sized.
Oh, that's so cool. Wait. Look at these bricks. It's if... Oh. Wait, that's a cool detail. I never thought about that. As if Bowser broke through the level.
These bricks are filling is suspiciously Bowser-sized.
He used
Forbidden
Toads to replace the bricks that he messed up.
Possibly just the one in the mirror room again. I think I've talked about that door like 3 times so far.
I'm gonna be honest, I would grind up chatters and build a fucking house if I could. Alright, I would just grind you guys up into fucking bricks, and I would just build my fucking Squeex monument just straight up.
Wiggler's body parts are used in the Bowser fights. The yellow spheres that border the Bowser arenas look very similar to the ones
Definitely only non-subs though
that make up Wiggler's body. However, if you replace the texture that Wiggler uses for his body, the spheres around the Bowser arena won't change, and vice versa. Meaning
you,
that they're not
Alexia.
actually using Wiggler's body parts. Full Omen archives.
Thank you,
Okay,
Blame
it's time for a bit of a
RNG.
history lesson here, so bear with me.
Okay.
In 1993, Silicon Graphics signed a deal with Nintendo to produce
Right.
the GPU used in the Nintendo 64. Silicon Graphics also developed Mips, standing for Microprocessor Without Interlocked Pipeline Stages, which
What?
is where Mips the Rabbit in Mario 64 gets his name from. The Omen archive was a leak of Nintendo technical documents, which was perpetrated by a Silicon
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was an acronym.
stages, which
Microprocessor without interlocked pipeline stages? I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that was the lore.
is where Mips the Rabbit in Mario 64 gets his name from. The
I thought his name was Mips because
Omen archive was a leak of Nintendo technical documents, which was perpetrated by a Silicon Graphics employee. The archive was a .rar file that was uploaded to the internet in 1999, titled omen.rar. Even the reason it's called
Omen.rar.
Omen is unknown, but in short, this is the reason early Nintendo 64 emulation was able to exist. However, since these resources were obtained illegally, any emulator developer looking to use the Omen resources is liable to be sued due to using these illegally obtained materials. I'm no expert on the subject, so I implore you to do your own research on this topic, but that's basically a short history of the Omen archives. The June 29th, 1995 build.
Do not research. Wait, I'm scared.
This was apparently a beta build of the game, which had a glitch where textures would rapidly flash, possibly causing seizures. There is very little information on this build of the game, if it exists at all.
Ultra 64 patent. Like MK Ultra?
The first time the public laid eyes on Mario 64 was in November of 1995, months after the supposed June 29th build. Ironically, the circulation of this Iceberg image has filled all the search results of this build with more fan-made stuff than any actual evidence of this build's existence. So for the time being, I'm gonna say that this build isn't real.
Oh.
I should mention that from this point forward, a lot of the content on this Iceberg is mostly made up for the sake of being creepy or mysterious.
Don't tell me that, just say it. Don't, come on. Just lie to me, man. That's like a magician saying that this is just sleight of hand.
Now, I'm all in favor of shitposting for the sake of perpetuating creepy myths, but
All known deaths on iCarly? Find tragic law. Bro, why is he choosing iCarly for myths? There's other creepy content.
the purpose of this video is to be educational about Mario 64.
Oh, okay.
So I'll mostly be skipping over the bullshit ones.
Sounds
Mario
good.
64 is definitely personalized, though. That one
Yes.
is 100%.
Yes,
true.
this is
The
true.
Wario apparition. Okay. I love the Wario apparition as much as the next guy.
Wait, this
but
is true too.
This was not an actual thing that happened in Mario 64. This image on the side of the iceberg only exists because of a 1996 Nintendo E3 conference in which Wario's face is superimposed on top of Mario 64 where he insults the game in true Wario
It's
fashion.
real. It's real.
Ah, this is terrible. Who would buy stuff like this anyway? What? You think this is fun? You gotta be cuckoo crazy. You want fun? Wario show you fun.
However, because of this line, the Wario apparition, there have been a bunch of fan creations around the internet with like weird, creepy Wario and Mario 64 things. It's really great. I'll link a few in the description or something. Toad projection. I couldn't find any information for this one, but my best guess would be that sometimes in the castle you can get the camera to misbehave, and you can see objects standing in an empty black void. I know for a fact that this works with the star doors, and I couldn't get it to work with Toad, but they're also objects, so in theory they should work.
Whoa.
The Bowser Room. This is an edited image by Chris O'Neill of Oni Plays.
This isn't You're telling me this is edited? You're telling me this isn't in the game? This isn't someone's playthrough? This is real. That's real.
I don't really watch Oni plays, but there's some
Oni
episode
Pixel.
where they just talk about making this image back in the day. Nothing about it is real, so let's just move on.
It is real.
Brain diagram.
I was there.
Allegedly, there's some brain diagram hidden in the assets of Wet Dryworld or possibly some other stage, but...
Bro, you on the hub? Ew, no, I'm talking Ken Hub. Ooh, cerebellum, midbrain, the pituitary gland, the
hidden in
thalamus,
the
the
assets
corpus
of Wet
callosum.
Dryworld or possibly some other stage,
God damn.
but I could find no tangible evidence of this, and honestly, I've looked through all the textures of Mario 64 more times than I'm willing to admit, and there is no brain diagram that I know of.
Yeah,
Of
right.
course, in the Bowser painting. There are several paintings of Bowser and Peach throughout the castle, and there are some of the few paintings that you can't enter. Of course, Bowser has 3 different levels to his name, but I guess that brings up the question. Which level would you enter if you could hop into the Bowser painting? In the original, the background used is completely
Lethal
black,
Lava Land.
but in the DS version, it has sort of a greenish-gray background.
This is like when you're like, have to take a passport picture and you have to go to a local CVS. This is what it looks like.
which matches
And they're like,
up
no, you showed teeth, you have to
most
do it
closely
again.
with the Bowser in the Dark World background. I guess it's fitting, since you first see the Bowser painting right before you're thrown into the Dark World.
Okay. Okay, this part's gonna be extremely
Delicious cake.
scary.
A
Oh,
string of text in the Japanese version just says delicious cake, and it's located in between the names for the secret aquarium and the castle's secret stars. The only guess I could make is that the developers intended for there to be actual lines of text on the end cake screen, put delicious cake there as a placeholder, decided not to enable the text, and just left the delicious cake string unedited, which honestly wouldn't be too out of the question.
oh.
Internal plexus of the castle. The exterior of Peach's castle is actually way too small to contain the maps they were able to explore inside.
I never even thought about that. I'm not even kidding you. Of course not. Like, Tippy can't exist in this little tube. I never even thought about that. I'm not even kidding. Of course not.
This is standard video game stuff, and this video by Squeex illustrates this pretty well. I think this also relates to the secret slide dimensional rift thing that I mentioned earlier in the video.
Guys, this is
NFR
spooky.
cartridge differences. NFR cartridges, meaning not for resale, were copies that were sent out to stores so that customers could view or even play demos of them in the store. Some NFR carts were specifically made so that you'd be locked out of certain areas, or they may have even contained content that didn't make it in.
What are you question marking me for? Look at it. Look at this thing.
Cartridges, meaning not for resale, were copies that were sent out to stores so that customers could view or even
Bro's doing tricks on it. He's bouncing on it.
play demos of them in the store. Some NFR carts were specifically made so that you'd be locked out of certain areas, or they may have even contained content that didn't make it into the final game. However, the NFR cartridge for Mario 64 has no differences than the one that was actually released, aside from the not for resale label.
See? Kids to adults. So I'm an adult, and I'm playing Mario 64.
The cartridge.
So I'm
Miyamoto
still
stole
within...
Mario 64 from Argonaut. Argonaut Games was a British development studio that worked with Nintendo in
Oh my
the
God, he
SNES
stole
era, and their most famous
This
game
is
was
true.
probably Star Fox. In an interview with Eurogamer, Jez Sand, the founder of Argonaut, revealed that they had pitched a Yoshi game to Nintendo.
Oh my God,
which
it's
would have
true.
apparently been the world's first 3D platformer. Nintendo didn't want to take such a big risk with an outside company using their pre-existing characters, and the 3D Yoshi game never ended up being made. However, it did get repurposed to become Croc, which was released on the PS1 and Sega Saturn. Sand then went on to say in the same interview, quote, Miyamoto went on to make Mario 64, which had the look and feel of our Yoshi game, but with a Mario character, of course, and beat Croc to the market by around a year.
Hold on. I have to look at Croc. This looks fucking good, actually. I actually really like it. Oh, okay, not bad.
Miyamoto came up to me at a show afterwards, and apologized for not doing the Yoshi game with us, and thanked us for the idea to do a 3D platform.
Thank you, MFX Lovely, and thank you, B Brew, thank you, Coco, Cobb, thanks, guys.
3D platformer. Video games had been moving towards 3D at a gradual pace, and it seemed like the natural progression of how video games would evolve over time.
Has it
been? It makes
been?
complete sense that Nintendo would release a Mario game to help launch their new console.
Yeah.
Jez Sand went on in the interview about some other stuff Nintendo did, and I won't deny that Nintendo definitely fucked Argonaut over in the end.
Jesus!
But again, I wouldn't claim that Mario 64
Soldier.
was outright stolen from them.
Thank you, Croctopus.
Shared nightmares. I'll leave you with a more thought-provoking one for last. Super Mario 64 was many people's first experience with a fully 3D game, and of course many people played it when they were kids. That also means it would naturally pop up into people's dreams over time as well. There are a select few moments in this game that stand out to many people as being creepy, intentional or not. The mad piano, the giant eel, the infinite staircase. I've even heard a couple people were afraid of the chain chomp when they were younger. In a game as open-ended and expansive as Mario 64, for the time, it's no wonder that a lot of people would end up having similar dreams about it. Here's another thing that isn't really related to dreams, but I found interesting anyway. In your
What? What are those shared dreams?
mind,
Like about the piano and the chain chomp? Okay.
Picture Mario running around in Super Mario 64. Now, did you imagine Mario falling into a pit? Allegedly, it's hard for people to separate the two things, almost as if Mario can't exist in your mind without having him fall into a pit. The reasons for this are seemingly obvious. Many of us probably have a fair share of memories from falling off courses like Rainbow Ride, and Mario's scream when he's falling is probably burned into your brain right now. Still, it's a fun little thought experiment to try out.
That was awesome.
So, you've made it to the end of the video. I know it was a long one, but I hope you learned something new.
It was amazing.
You did stick around until the end, so it clearly interested you. I could go on with the repetitive YouTuber outros like this video was really hard to make, or please like and subscribe, but this video's gone on long enough. I do genuinely appreciate any support you'd be willing to give on this video, and honestly, I had a lot of fun making it.
Wait, that's so
but
cute.
For now, goodbye.
Bye. That was awesome. Shout out to Mish Cause 4 years ago for the Mario 64 Iceberg. That was awesome. Oh my god, Ocarina of Time Iceberg. No, I can't. Wait, Iceberg videos are so cool. They're so fucking cool. I have no idea that was even a thing until recently. No, I'm not watching this.